We're back at the table with this week's Line Opinion panelists. Lawmakers wrapped up a special legislative session last Thursday after we taped our show, and a bill to address the budget deficit passed and was signed by the governor. The House passed a proposal to bring back the death penalty in some cases as well, but that issue was not taken up in the Senate. Christine, We're already seeing political mailers, however, tied to that vote going out. It took all of about 48 hours, particularly the death penalty legislation. I don't think anyone at this table is terribly surprised. We actually predicted that here at this table as well. But what's your take on what's going forward, this interim between the special and the regular session coming up? What's going to happen between them?
Oh, this was definitely a power play by the Martinez administration to use the office of the governor to set the agenda for a special session, which, in my opinion, should have focused on the fiscal crisis in the state, and that was enough to deal with, especially when we're looking at $50,000 per day in terms of cost and public dollars going to that. But it was very clear to me as a political scientist that she wanted to make it the death penalty and other crime bills wedge issues, to have Republicans run against Democrats who were not in favor of the death penalty or could be charged with soft on crime. So it was, I think John Arthur Smith called it irresponsible in the sense that leadership was not shown, even in the Martinez administration coming out with a strong guidelines on how to save the budget, how to work with the budget, but instead even adding to the agenda with this death penalty issue. It was not going to be solved overnight in an all-night session. It took years and lots of decision-making arenas and input, public input, interest group input, the Catholic Church, all of this in such a major decision. It took years to come to a conclusion to repeal the death penalty. And so I think that it's very predictable. It was designed to produce political mailers for the Republicans. That's not a surprise.
And Merritt, some of the mailers are in fact talking about votes that were sort of taken, sort of not taken. Do you know what I mean? People are being tarred with this thing, with a big brush, and they may not have actually, do you know what I mean? Is that an effective strategy in this culture, in this climate we have right now in New Mexico?
Well, I don't think most voters are going up to the New Mexico legislature website and checking votes. First of all, and second, as Christine very clearly pointed out, this was an opportunity, and it was successful, I think, for the Senate Democrats and the House Democrats to hand the state Republican Party all the emotional blackmail they need for the rest of this campaign session. And so, in a way, we have the numbers that 2/3 of New Mexicans support the death penalty. It's perhaps a helpful differentiator in a situation of the Republican top ticket disaster. No, I find it not surprising at all. What I do find ironic is the point of the special session, which was the budget. As a result of our lower revenues and budget cuts, I think our ability to actually competently enact a death penalty has been compromised, because Hobbs has already had to close their public defender's office. So if we can't even get the prosecutorial and the defense support around basic cases, how are we going to support death penalty cases?
That's the point there. On another note, they were sent there, they meaning the legislature, to fix our budget woes. And what seems to have happened, Russell Contreras, is we have now emptied any kind of reserves that we might have had at our disposal. It's all gone now. Tobacco money, all kinds of other things, infrastructure projects. That word sweeping, things were swept from one pile of money to another thing over here. Where do we go from here? All right, we've done a stopgap measure. Do we have the stuff now to get serious about this?
Exactly. Now there just need to be some leadership to come out and say, well, we need some revenues somehow, whether it's a tax increase or some others, especially when we have aging infrastructure, we have aging water infrastructure. Our cops are not getting paid at a higher rate. We have all sorts of things. And even this week, the University of New Mexico says we may have to cut sports. So now it's hitting the bone. Now people are going to realize that now we're coming up here, especially with you have basketball season coming up, and folks are thinking about athletes. Now you're taking food off my table. That's going to be a different discussion. So even if they send these mailers about the death penalty, if you had strong Democratic response, you can say, wait a minute, there are responsibilities. You may have to pay more for your gas or more for other things, and you may not be able to get that new iPhone because you need more water infrastructure, or else you're not going to have water.
See, I love that. I love that. that idea of that leadership and coming out there, and just saying, yes, I did vote against the death penalty, whatever. We're moving on because we have bigger issues to deal with, as a matter of fact. Is that a winning strategy for some Democrats to fight this back?
I think it's a winning strategy for the Democrats to say that, for the special session, as far as session's concerned, that they went up to Santa Fe, especially those in the Senate, they took care of business and they shut down shop. I thought that was a brilliant strategic move, and really the only move that the Senate could actually make without getting embroiled in all that, subsequent.
They even got themselves a couple supermajority votes to make things just happen now, as a matter of fact. That's very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think the biggest takeaway for me has been Senator John Arthur Smith.
Right.
He goes from going to be Dr. No to Dr. Tell It Like It Is. Yep. And his his comments after the legislative session that this is a failed administration in relation to job creation and fiscal management, that jumped out in just broad terms. So Russell says, what we need now is leadership. I think that's what a lot of the legislature has been saying. Right. And us in the business community, when we look at, where has the leadership been to economic development, because that's the only way you're going to be able to generate and make up some of these revenues so the state can be made whole again. Right. There has been no leadership. And now there is a new leader in economic development, but, really it's probably just too late in the game.
That's right. And Christine, what Tom's saying is you take your shot, you do your thing, but after that, you have to come back to reality and deal with the budget.
Well, also, it should be noted that Governor Martinez's popularity is slipping.
That's right.
Now, that is a normal trend with an elected official who's in for 2 terms. But I cannot separate that out from people seeing the terrible paralysis of our state economically, and surely people, it's not really difficult to figure out that economic development, sustainability, new jobs, new economic endeavors must be put forward for lots of boats to rise in this sinking situation.
Well said. Good point there. I'm going to end it there. That's all the time we have.